All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. We're getting into the last part of it, this discussion. Earlier on, you must have seen this. Rashida Chesa decamped and he moved positions. It was like I was supporting the Jubilee Party, now I'm not. I'm moving to ANC. Exactly. He's not the only one. Boni Halwale did the same thing. So the question we had asked you earlier is the 2022 political alignments based on ideology or selfish interest? And I see Kipiego Innocent says, a very good morning, Trevor. My point of view is that the part of the 2022 alignment is self-centered, while to others who wish to good Kenyans, it should be ideology-based. And if you look at page 7 of the Standard newspaper today, leaders vow to build alliance to block Ruto from presidency. Machakos Governor Arthur Bintua has hinted at a possible political alliance with more leaders to counter the DP William Ruto's 2022 bid. The BBI is getting recommendations that we are overrepresented and therefore certain positions should be scrapped. And Honorable Kimkung, I'd like you to start on that. Are we overrepresented in your view? Yes, we are. Oh, that was quick. So do you agree with yes, we are. On a referendum then? Yes, I do. So do you which positions do you think should be scrapped in your view? I think we're just, seriously, I look at it from a different perspective. Because I say when you pay taxes for so many leaders, because that's where they get their salary from. Is it necessary? That's the first question we ask ourselves. Secondly, I say that we are 47 counties. I was born when we had 8 provinces, right? And I think it worked. We don't want to turn around and say it never worked. The new constitution came into effect in 2010. We had lived with the old system, with the old boundaries for all those years. We don't need 47 counties. So I just feel that we have them to reduce. I don't know the numbers per se, because I wouldn't say from which border to which border should be cut off, but I think we should have less counties. That will be a burden, a less burden on the taxpayers and the government spending. The wage bill is very high. We don't need all those MCAs. You know, now we have a county assembly where they actually try, I'm sorry, and replicate parliament, which I think should not be the case. Do you understand where I'm coming from? They have a speaker, they want to do exactly what the National Assembly is doing, but that's additional number of people, right? Do we need so many senators? I don't think so, because first and foremost, what is their role? Can that role be played with fewer senators? Yeah? And still, we get the same effect as what we're looking for? Women rep. I may sound a bit negative about it. The reason I say that, I look at a women rep is elected with the same number of constituencies as a governor. Yet they sit in parliament and they're treated as a member of parliament. Now, when you have an MP who's only running a constituency and you have a woman rep sitting there who is actually been elected with the county, why should she be put in the same place as a member of parliament? So you feel it's a duplication of roles? They should be given something much higher then. Because if a woman is elected with the whole county and not a constituency, why would she be sitting with a member of parliament who will frustrate her? I'm sure you're not allowed to go into their constituency. When they see you doing things, they think you're competition. You're earning the same as a member of parliament from the constituency. Does it make sense? Sabina Chege is whispering it's true. It's true. Yeah. No, does it make sense? For me, that's my bone of contention. If there's going to be a women rep, can they put them in a different position? Maybe sitting in the same position as a governor. We have 3 women reps here. I know. Sabina, do you agree with Kimkung? I do. So to me, they're being reduced to another level, which is not the level they should be in. All right. Sabina, I'm sure, got more votes than one of her local MPs in her own area. But that MP will probably not let her go and work into that constituency. Will stop her because it's already a threat. So Sabina, are saying that the women role, the role of the women rep should be given a higher seat? I think so. Why am I being elected with the county and then I sit with the constituency MP? Let me hear from the women. And he pushes me around, you know, in different corners. Those who argue that it should be scrapped off completely. I don't agree about scrapping off, because we need to look at the rationale of having women reps coming to parliament, and this was part of achieving the gender balance within the parliament. But I think we were given a very harsh position, as she says.
because we elected the same level with the governor. Some of us even got more votes than governors. And then you come to the constituencies where we have the challenges she has explained. It's like she has been with us. I'm a second-term member of parliament. And it's true, we get the same salary, same allocation of resources, even for our staff members as a single member of parliament. And I think the first challenges we got with Gladys, who is here, one is that we didn't even have a kitty. And even now, if you look at the budget, even the kitty we got, which is around 7 million per constituency, where a single member of constituency gets over 100 million. And even when it comes to increasement of this fund, the members of parliament consider themselves, and we are not considered. Actually, our budget, even last time, it was almost meant to be slashed. We have been trying to fight even getting the sanitary towels to distribute. And now they have been back and forth whether they should go back to the Ministry of Education or they should be given to the women reps position. But even when it goes there, it goes to the Ministry of Gender. And then again, we have these delays of waiting for the sanitary towels to be procured, and some of us have not even received them. I totally agree that yes, we have overrepresentation. We need to relook at the position, but let's not look at the easier way, because we think women are the pushover. We say let's scrap off the women rep position. I believe we have great women in parliament who are doing great things, and we should be looking at how do we actually position that position of the women rep. The senators should be elected or appointed. You know, we have seen other countries where senators, we know we have those professors, the people who have really given a lot in their country, where they are like professional advisors on management. Even that's how they are the upper house, because they even advise when there are bills, when there are serious issues in the nation. Though they are the ones who advise the government and maybe or even oversight the county. We should be looking at that and seeing, because currently what we have is like senators, yes, oversighting the government, but also having their own interest, oversighting the counties, but having their own interest and personal interest in politics. And that's why you find some governors who not even respect the Senate. Yeah. When we come to the governors, and of course she has also mentioned about the county assemblies, we have governors, we have county commissioners, we have regional, you know, and so we have a county commissioner who is in charge of a county, and we have a governor who is in charge of a county. So which one should we cut in this list? We just need to look at everything else. Then do we then have to have governors who are elected or even appointed? Because if we restructure a position, we'll have to go. Which one would you recommend? Well, I think of the county commissioner, because a county commissioner is much more management. But the other question is then do we have to get a governor elected? Okay. Or can we get a governor who is appointed, like, you know, like the way we have a county commissioner, who knows the government, there's somebody who is oversighting what he's doing. And then, of course, then the project, the money allocated to that county will go into the right, you know, what the people want, because a lot of governors will do projects that will favor them to get a second term. Okay. And you see, even the constitution is very clear, you'll only get 2 terms. So the first term, they would do projects to make sure they win again to get back to their second term. And when they get into the second term, they don't care anymore, because now I know I'm going. You know, okay. And so I think that's where we've seen a lot of gaps within the counties and even misuse of funds, because it is not about what the people want. It's about myself securing my second term. Okay. But if the position was an appointed position, then you know, as a county commissioner, you will look, you know, like the position of a county commissioner, you will look at the cost, your county, what are the priorities, why do we still have students who are sitting in those mud classrooms? Okay. And we have CDF, a lot of money, we have the county money, a lot of billions going to the counties, but where is the money going? And that's why we're seeing a lot of trillions in the budget. Okay. But can we see it on the ground? Honorable Shalay, very briefly. Yeah, I agree with my colleagues, but there are 2 aspects to this conversation. There's over-representation and the cost. And when we look at the cost, I think it's important that we actually go down to the numbers, because numbers don't lie. 1.7% of the total government budget comes to representation, which is Parliament and the Senate. 1.1 goes to the judiciary, 62% to the executive, 12% to the counties, 20% to the consolidated fund services. So the question we should be asking ourselves, even if you scrap Parliament, you've just saved 1.7%. So it's important to look at it and say, where else can we save? And if you look at where we are losing our biggest amount, it's been confirmed that 30% of our budget is lost to corruption. I have recently visited a hospital in Nyahururu, which was built at the cost of 150 million shillings. It is as good as Nairobi Hospital. Yet,
you will hear that we are spending 2 billion to build a county hospital, which when you go and look at, you're horrified at the facilities that are there. So again, it's the way we spend our money that we should be looking at, not necessarily saying, I think if we scrap the MCAs and so on. But even when that is said, this is only the second term that devolution is operating. I think we can give it this term to complete and be able to look at it as a country.
Then review.
Then to be able to review it. Because you are very young. You haven't lived in a system where you saw when the road was broken in Wasingishu, you come to the Ministry of Roads in Nairobi. Today, I call the CEC of Roads in Wasingishu and say there's a bridge that is broken, or I call up the MCA, or I call the ward administrator. I never even have, so we've actually been able, I'm able to narrow down problems to the basic level. If I walk into a sub-county hospital, I actually know who is the sub-county administrator. I can report them to the CEC Health in Wasingishu, and I can report them to the governor. So there is some good in devolution. And what we should be asking ourselves is the amount we are spending on this representation worth it for the country, and is it producing results? So we're not just saying, let's scrap a few positions. You can scrap the Senate. Believe me, it won't touch the...
Clarissa, why would you report to the governor?
Sorry? Because the sub-county hospitals are devolved.
That's where I have a problem. Because I'm saying the women rep should not be reporting to the governor.
Okay. Honorable
You should not.
You
should be able.
No, I'm not saying...
No, I'm just saying, you as a women rep, seriously, you should be able to take action. Because you are elected.
No, I think, let me correct this. Let me correct this. I'm not saying I'm reporting as a position and a professional to the governor. I am reporting the employee of the county government to his boss. And in fact, when I'm reporting, you're actually setting in motion disciplinary proceedings or action to be taken against that person. And by the way, I think also the way you deal with, for me, reporting to someone or whatever, that would never happen in my case. I don't think anybody has ever stopped me from stepping in every sub-county, and I dare them to try, because it can never happen to me. I think Gladys, it's just your personality.
Gladys, I'm saying, all three of you sitting here are women rep. I would want the women rep, if she was indeed elected with all the people in that county, to have some sort of authority to oversee and not to be looked up like somebody else is the one to make the decision. They should be able to make the decisions.
I don't
the same way the governor does that.
The CEC Health.
All right.
No, the same way the governor does that. I'm saying all-rounder.
I understand Elizabeth's frustration. And it's a frustration it's a question that many people ask. Why would you be elected in 8 constituencies, as is in my case, and then you sit in the National Assembly and earn the same salary and so on? But it comes back to how did the woman rep's position come about? And these people who are negotiating in Naivasha or whatever, they said, we need to meet the 2/3 gender principle in the National Assembly. Because we found a way of, we were looking at the Senate and the National Assembly. And people said, we don't want nomination, because nomination, the usual thing of people nominate this, so the women should get some sort of election. This is how they said, okay, but you can't elect women in all constituencies. Okay, give them a county space. We have tried it for 10 years now. It's a bit of a burden, because you are elected, but then you're sitting there, you're trying to deal with 8 constituencies and so on and so forth. Should we look for better ways? Yes. But then, has it succeeded in some ways? Yes. Because who would know Gladys Wanga if there was no affirmative action position that brought me to a point that now I can actually run and win another position, and be a serious leader in my party, and be a, and so on and so forth. Who would have brought Sabina Shege at that time, and so on and so forth.
Vice Chair of Health,
Chair of Health Committee. Chair of Education Committee in the last parliament, and so it has profiled women. And we have women who came through this position, went back and ran in single constituencies, won. There are women who are going to be running for governors, will win, and so on. So this position has its advantages in the sense that it profiles, it has given that stepping stone that was intended. Are we going to review the constitution in terms of representation? I think we should. Why? Because we have not even met the 2/3 gender principle. Those who are talking about scrapping, I have to finish this because I have spoken for half a minute. So those who are talking about scrapping the women's position, they're dreaming, because we must meet the constitutional principle of the 2/3. We must just look for ways of meeting it. One of the ways we are proposing is mixed member proportional representation.
Yes.
In the National Assembly, probably in the Senate as well. How? We produce party lists. It's number 1 is a woman, number 2 is a man, and so on and so forth. We do not go for election to the ballot in our constituencies. We present the party list, and if a party wins 60% of the seats, they take the first. We will have met the principal in the National Assembly will be 50-50. Okay. This is what is happening in South Africa and other places. Right. We must think about these difficult solutions and not just sitting somewhere and saying, scrap women, scrap women. Even if you scrap parliament, it will not, So the thing is, we must think more seriously about how we want to address our representation issues. And we had that question of the game of musical chairs.
Yes,
and I think, towards every political contest, there are alignments and realignments and further realignments, and people look at their interests, but at the end of the day, they also, people look at, they said politics, there's nothing personal to politics as is interest.
Right. But right now, I'm afraid our time is up.
But now it's interest, of course.
Right now, because there are no ideologies. We don't know who's going to be there 2022.
What are our ideologies?
So we don't know. So right now,
we should have started with this conversation.
It's about fishing.
We should have started with this conversation.
So now it's just selfish interest.
Who fired me and
Ladies, I'm afraid our time is up. But thank you so much for being here.
We're here for 1 hour.
It's been 1 hour 30 minutes.
Are you still?
Yes. That is none other than Honorable Gladys Wanga, Women Rep for Homa Bay. Say closer to her namesake, Honorable Gladys Cholet, Women Rep for Asagishu, and also Honorable Sabina Chega, Women Rep for Moranga, and Honorable Elizabeth Kimkung, Kanu Women Congress National Chair. Ladies, thank you so much for your time this morning.
All right. We have some time for some quick SMSs and feedback coming through to our studio. Let's read them real quick just to see what Kenyans are saying out there. And why is devolution getting a mere 10% of the budget, yet many services are left to them? Big Four getting even more than counties which are in constitution. Aren't these already represented in ministries and counties?
All right. Let's take a look. Still on Twitter, Kinsey, you say, I feel Honorable Kimkung has a point. As environmental scientist, it is a shame to see government launch a coal factory. Yet we all know its dangers to the environment. Lots of misplaced priorities.
Let's see another one here. Stephen, you say, Kenya is like a tail. Government is planning to import maize just a few months after refusing to purchase from our farmers.
All right, still on Twitter, Francis, you say reduce MCAs and the size of county governments so they do not mirror the national government. Use the CDF format. The counties should remain 47. Big counties could create governors who can rival the president and create a crisis. Counties should be centers of development, not politics.
All right. Let's see what you're saying on 22422. Nation from Migori says stern measures should be taken against those found guilty of rape cases to serve as an example to those with similar offenses. We were meant to talk about that subject, but we ran out of time. We'll definitely talk about it soon, most likely tomorrow.
Nixon on SMS, you say, as a parent, I request all the stakeholders concerned with the CBC embrace the change, have the goodwill as they offer full support.
All right. So Sarah says CBC is bound to fail if the deliverers of the curriculum are ignored. Who will teach learners swimming skills in public schools? Where will they even swim? Do they have swimming pools? Is the government ready to finance swimming in public schools? This CBC can only be inclusive if there are resources and manpower in all the schools.
Swimming, yes.
Yeah.
Swim in the river. I learned to swim in
the river. In the river.
River style. Well.
All right. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much for staying with Daybreak. We'll be back in just a bit.
Willis
Raburu.
Raburu.
With the news, and also Willis Raburu is coming up next.
With Engage, so stick with us. They have an interesting topic. We'll be right back.